Okay, welcome to the July 1st Village Board meeting. We're back in Village Hall, and we'll start with the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just to give everybody a little heads up, and now it's delaying. I'll turn this when you're speaking, so it's going to be a little awkward, but let's do the best we can do. Can I get a motion to approve the village board meeting minutes from June 17th, 2021?
Second.
Any changes, questions? All in favor? Aye.
I'll abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay. All right, so we're a 5-0. I'd say citizens' comments, but we have none here. We'll move to trustees' comments. Let me turn this thing to face over this way. Andy?
Nothing new on the brownfield power site. Other than that, I just have agenda items and I'm glad to be back in the building.
Okay. Mike Shepherd?
The agenda's fine with me, thanks.
Okay. Megan?
Just the agenda, thank you.
Okay. Ruth?
Just the agenda, thank you.
Mark?
Hi there. I'll request a very brief executive session. I'm not sure where we'll meet, but
We'll meet in here. We'll just have everybody else leave.
other than that, I will stick to the agenda.
Okay, that'll be item E under new business. Executive session for negotiation update. All right, and we'll move over to Bruce.
Good evening. I think the agenda is just fine.
Very good, nice and formal. All right, let's get this baby back around. I've got a few things. Page. Yesterday we had a kind of an exciting time. We met in front of the Sports Bowl with the county executive who announced another round of Main Street improvement grants. And he made it very clear that we were eligible, even though we'd gotten some in the first round. If we have more, certainly allow them to apply, and they have every bit as good a chance of getting it as anybody else does. So that's good to hear, because there were a few people who didn't hear about it in time the first time. So they've got they're using 5.1 million from the ARPA money from the feds to extend the Main Street program. And the county executive was very complimentary of the village, saying this was the place that everybody wants to live. It's great schools, great restaurants, great housing areas. You've got your own water, you're on the river. Why wouldn't you want to live here?
Is the program limited to the downtown business area?
It's got to be on the main street, a main street. So I would assume that if somebody was on River Street or Tappan Street, they'd be eligible.
Canton?
Canton, I
I'm
don't.
wondering if the senior center with that ramp that needs to be replaced, a facade improvement, if
I
the
don't
towns
know.
could apply.
Certainly we can check on it. I can call community development on Monday and find out, or tomorrow. And I'll see if that's eligible. Where are we here? Go. So it was very nice. There was some of the TV people were there, and was a chance to show off the Sports Bowl. Gary Peterson did a real nice job fixing it up. I don't know if you noticed it, it's kind of back. So unless you're down in that way on purpose, you might not see it. But it was before, it was kind of a purplish blue, right out of the 80s. And now it's now it's one of the colors that our planning board allows. It's kind of a beigey with a touch of green in it. It looks very nice.
Architectural review board?
I'm guessing that's probably, he had some help with it from them. So it was a very nice program. And we, as far as ARPA money for us, we have turned in our paperwork and had to be in by July 9th, I believe. And that's in. The state has our money and has asked for 30 days delay in handing it out, as everybody expected they would do. So they have our money sitting in some bank account probably, but hopefully we'll get it soon. I think I sent out email to everybody asking for suggestions. I know I heard from Mark and Bruce and Ruth. If you got other thoughts on things we can use it for, it's infrastructure, that type of stuff is the focus. But there are some other things it can be used for. Please let me know, so then we can put them together and show everybody the complete list of suggestions, and toss it around and come up with the best place to spend our money. The county is having a Plan Onondaga program, which is establishing a comprehensive plan for development across the county. July 23rd is the first meeting in the town of Clay. They would like somebody from this representing the village board, and they want somebody representing our planning board. So if anybody thinks that's something you'd want to do, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I may end up going, but if one of you thinks that would be something you would enjoy getting your hands involved with, more than happy to have you go. Chuck, this might be something that you'll be hearing about. I got a phone call from the county, Isabel Harris, who wanted to know, they have a program called Hire Ground, HIRE Ground, and they send homeless people into a community, pick up trash, but then they end up with nowhere to go with the trash. They were here the other day. Apparently they left the trash somewhere near Salina and 31, right there by the pizza place. And she said to me, we didn't know what to do. We finally, somebody had a van and went and picked it up. And she said, would there be a way that the village, if we sent a crew out to walk the village picking up trash, would the village be able to pick up the bags when they're done? I said, you're not talking about doing it every day. I mean, they may not do it here again all summer, but if they did, she'd like to know. I told her that I would check with you and then eventually have her contact you.
Absolutely. Well, we talked about that today. One of the guys said, hey, listen, is there a group in town? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, there's a group of like 10 people that are coming down Slide Street just picking up garbage. He goes, and they left some bags down by the park down here. I said, geez, I don't know about it, but we got bags. And by all means, if they let us know, we'll pick up that morning, or we'll even meet them when they're doing it.
It'd be kind of like an Earth Day pickup.
Yeah, they did a great job too. And they just, like I say, that's why I didn't know who it was, because I just saw empty bags there and somebody's gonna pick them up, and they didn't, so we grabbed some of them. So.
It's a pretty good program. It's homeless people that get $50 a day.
Oh, good.
So, they're not just getting $50 for nothing. They are putting in some work, and it's a full day when they work. So
Just have to get hold of us, and we'll make sure.
I'll give her your phone number, and you can, okay, good.
We wondered what they were, we didn't know, somebody was walking down, we don't see that very often.
Well,
No, other than Green Up Day or Clean Up Day or something.
okay. Chuck had told me how many big boats we were having over on the wall because some of the Canadian waters have been shut down. So more of them are coming this way rather than going through areas of Canada to get out west on their loop. And as I took a ride down on River Street, boy, there's a couple real big boats over there.
Real nice people. They
Yeah.
get them in and they make their move, and they're real nice, thrilled with walking through town and going to different places.
It's got to help our local businesses. They're all coming in to have lunch, and maybe some of them having supper and spending some money here. That's kind of nice. I have a letter to read from the Cantonwood Senior Center. Dear Mayor Clark and village trustees, we would like to thank the DPW for the beautiful job they did landscaping the front entrance to Cantonwood Senior Center. It's a lovely welcome back to the center for our seniors. Generally appreciate the Village of Baldwinsville's continued support of Cantonwood Senior Center and the senior residents who visit the center. Once again, thank you for the great work the DPW did. Sincerely, the Cantonwood Senior Activity Committee, Ed Barlow, Kathy Hogan, and Ava Snooper. So I'll make a copy of this and you can post it on the bulletin board or whatever up at the shop. It's always nice when people recognize things like that. You know, sometimes you wonder if anybody notices, but I saw something on Facebook that somebody mentioned that you guys had been over there and they look great.
Sometimes we just dump them off there and they get people to do it, but I'm not sure what they're just there and they did about an hour and a half done, so.
Well,
It looks nice over there.
somebody noticed it anyways.
Good.
We did get a grant, $5,000 grant to help us with the replacement trees that we get after the ash trees come down. No help yet for taking them down, but $5,000 plus we have to have like a 25% match, so it'll be $1,200. And we can include, if we do the labor to put the trees in, that can be a match. And the note said that would take care of about 30 trees of the size that they recommend that we use to reforest the areas. So that would be a pretty good start. I'm sure it's going to be more than that as far as number of trees, but it was nice. It was good news to know that we're getting a little bit of help. That came out of the blue. We got a note saying that you had on a Friday that you had to have in by Tuesday if you want to be eligible for a grant. So I called up the lady on Monday. I said, geez, you gave us Friday to Tuesday and 2 of the days are weekend. And she said, well, we didn't know if anybody was going to be interested. That was just for our part of it. And she said, you got a little more time than that, but it has to be in July. And then I guess they just agreed that anybody who said they were interested, they were going to give them $5,000 towards replacing trees. So in case people don't know, the ash trees, Chuck, what is it, over 100, Bruce?
Oh, we came up with 150, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our village is going to get decimated. There's going to be spots and people are going to go, you know, did a bomb go off and just destroy trees because we got a lot of ash trees. I think that's about all I got. We will now go with our department heads. I'll go get this so we can kind of go in an order by where you're sitting. We'll start with the DPW. Chuck? Speak up so this records you.
Okay, the water department, we got good news today that I guess now we can start getting back into the houses and we're having trouble getting in houses and so now we can start tagging them and if we can red tag them again now. We weren't able to do that for a long time. Usually the red tags are where we terminate your service and traditionally for the last 35 years I've been here, the minute they get a red tag, they call you right up and get you right in. And all we want to do is replace the meters. It doesn't cost the homeowner any money, but now that we started again, it's just stalled. They put, I think, 30 notices out the other day and got like 2 phone calls. And so we're gonna start pushing a little harder and if you could just let us get in, it'd be great. They're working on that. As you see, we did a lot of mulching through the town. We got all the mulching done in the town. 2 parks people got some weed eating done. They got a ton of weed eating done. The trees are the big things now. Where we're down. We went down. The highway was down to Community Park the last 2 days, and Danny Weir was heading the crew up down there, and I think they got like 23 trees down. We took the ones that we think we can get down. We have bigger ones down there we have to take down, but we're gonna follow right behind them. And we have a grinder. We're gonna grind the stumps right out of the way. And I think we're up to 23 or 24. I know they got 14 today. And they got them loaded on the truck and took them out of there. They're down to the brush. So we might have to get we may have to have more grinding this year, but it's just a huge project. And we talked about the public works tonight too, and we're gonna have to bid some out to see where we're gonna get the money to do some of it. Because that's going to be an issue. But Chaucer, there's a bunch up on Chaucer, some of the side streets, and they're pretty confident we can get a lot of those, especially up there where there's no wires. And, but if we put a lot of our energy in that, some other things might get held up, but, right now, we're making some progress and we're getting as much as we can on it. That's pretty much the big things that are going on. We put back in for our CHIPS money for the reimbursement of $212,000. The hot patching's all done. We have another $69,000 we're gonna put into the cold roads. That's supposed to be done next week, and then all of our blacktop will be done, except for this parking lot. This parking lot started, I forgot about that. This parking lot starting tomorrow. We had some issues getting someone to do this. Our contractor said he'd come and do it. They don't like doing the small lots, but we're gonna grind this, and it's gonna be ground out tomorrow, and then it'll probably be a week or so when they come back and put the hot patch on. So this will be closed. We've notified everybody in here. This parking lot will be closed tomorrow. I gotta believe they'll be out here in a half a day.
Yeah.
But, so it'll be rough here for a week or two, and then they'll come up hot patch and they'll look nice when they're done. Other than that, unless there's questions, we had a great meeting, guys. We had a great meeting today with the new engineer. Just like a few minutes ago, he was at Public Works. And I have a good feeling about this, and I think it's gonna work out well.
Good.
So,
Any questions for Chuck? Just reminding people, pick up your trash. We have 50 trash containers around the village. Toss them in one of them. And I have a question when we get over to Bob, but now we have
It's just to say, if you're gonna talk to the,
Cantonwoods.
oh, I didn't know what you were doing.
I want him to spin the camera back to himself.
Just want to remind the board and the public that the senior center opened for a full day today for the first time in many, many months. So July 1st was our target date, and we did do that. Went very well. It was great to see folks come back in. So please call and ask for a newsletter or check any of the municipal websites. It's all posted on there for you. So come on in and see us. We're looking for you. Want to remind folks the farmers market coupon program, you do need to call and get on the list for that. So give the senior center a call, and Nancy will take care of you when the time comes for the farmers market coupon distribution. And just one event I want to mention, on the 15th of this month, it's a Thursday, 2 o'clock will be our next outdoor concert. It's Jerry Kelly, open to everyone, so come on over, bring your lawn chair, and have a nice afternoon with us. If it does rain that day, which I hope it doesn't, it will be the following week. And that's it, unless anybody has any questions.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. We'll move on now to our attorney, Bob.
Today, Governor Cuomo signed into law Chapter 198 of the laws of the state of New York, which turns out to be the law which allows the village of Baldwinsville, if we do transfer the administration of our sewer system to the county, to utilize the accumulated sewer rent funds for infrastructure expenses, for the payment of any obligations having to do with infrastructure, or to put it into a capital reserve fund, as we've discussed before. But the governor did sign a law. It becomes effective on August 30th, and it then expires on August 30th of 2022. So we have certainly time to resolve the issues relative to our sewer administration, and also what to do with the proceeds currently in the funds. Because under the state law, as it stands, the general municipal law, municipalities cannot transfer funds out of the general sewer fund to anything else. And of course, if we're not administering the sewer, then we have nothing to spend money on. So this was a very good relief that we received from the state and from our elected representatives that helped sponsor the bill to get it through. Other than that, I'll stick with the agenda.
Very good. Move on to our clerk, our deputy clerk, Jody.
I will just stick to the agenda.
Okay. We'll move over to our police chief, Michael.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board, citizens at home. Just a couple things I'd like to mention. Our newest officer, Zach McCaleb, he's started his field training program. If you remember, he transferred to us from SUNY Upstate Police Department, And he's riding out with Bob Thibault on the day shift. It's his first FTO, and he'll progress through our field training program, and hope to have him out on patrol. I would anticipate sometime in September would be my guess, but I don't want to give an exact date. It may take more or less time depending upon what issues arise. While he is a certified police officer with a few years of experience, it's a different type of policing in a hospital setting than it is in a village where you're going to people's homes regularly and interacting with business people. So it's a little bit different, and the reports and those types of things are different. Yes, sir.
Would he ever be on a shift during a board meeting that you might be able to introduce him to us then?
Now that you're back in
Yeah.
live and in person, so to speak, yes, we will certainly make that happen for
Great.
you. Yeah, absolutely.
Great
Not a
idea,
problem.
Bruce.
And if he's not, I'll make sure he's on the shift, that he'll come in here, one way or the other, fair enough? Yeah. One thing that a lot of people might not realize is that each death that occurs in the village, provided it's not a hospice type death or witnessed by a medical personnel, our staff investigates that. And over the last couple of weeks, we have had some death investigations that were a little bit concerning, because at the time those calls went out, the officers weren't really sure how that person had died. And we work cooperatively with the medical examiner's office, and if necessary, the district attorney's office on those. And it looks like each one of those particular incidents were natural in cause, but our staff did a really good job and took the time appropriate to look at those matters thoroughly, to investigate all those types of things. And they can take a while sometimes, and but many people don't realize that we have to go to each one of those calls to investigate, to ensure that nothing occurred that involved foul play in any way. I did receive over the last couple of weeks some very nice cards from village residents, and I posted those in our squad room for officers to see. Residents were very, very happy about our house check program. That continues to be a great benefit to our village residents, and I would just remind anyone that's listening, now that things are kind of opening up, and hopefully for summer people are traveling, if you're going away from home, you can contact the police department. We'll be happy to check your home while you're gone. Once you come back, I'll send you a letter and let you know exactly how many times our staff checked your home while you were away. It's a nice benefit to our village residents, and we certainly encourage everyone to take advantage of it if necessary. And then lastly, we had a very successful high school graduation last Friday with fireworks afterwards. Our staff, we had 4 or 5 officers up there. The sheriff's office had a few people as well, and some good amount of planning went into that, both because of the fireworks as well as the graduation back on school grounds for the first time in many, many years. And they got everyone parked and everyone in there, and things went really, really well. So I think our staff did a really well job on that also. Other than that, Mayor, unless there's questions.
Question was asked before the meeting, where did they shoot the fireworks off from?
The launch site was the old bus garage.
Okay.
Yeah. And the Kiwanis Club, I believe, was the provider of that. And our former Mayor Joe Saracini's in the club, and Joe had reached out to me on 2 or 3 occasions and had talked to me about it, because I'm the person that issues the permits on behalf of the village, and worked with Jody and Mo to ensure that the insurance certificate was correct and proper, and good planning on those also.
Very good. I know I ran into Andrea directing traffic, and she's the one that told me there was fireworks, and she said the kids don't know about it.
Right,
This
they
is-
tried to keep a lid on it.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
I forgot to tell my wife when I got home from walking. All of a sudden, it starts going on. I could hear her running upstairs, and do you see what's going on? So we went outside and watched the rest of the fireworks. It was pretty cool.
yeah, it was a nice display.
Yeah, so good job. Thanks, Chief.
Yes, sir.
On to pending business. As far as what proposal, have nothing new. Still waiting to hear from the county on the types of projects that we can use the $200,000 that they're going to give us for us to yield our sewers. We did check about, there's one rental agreement with Van Buren and one rental agreement with Lysander where they pay to have property that's outside the village hooked up to the village sewer system. And the county will pay us for the duration of the time from when those two towns sign off on the sewers until we give up sewers, which could be 6, 7, 8 months. And we will get paid by the county. So that was good to know that we won't lose out on that revenue.
At our DPW meeting, we learned that the head of WEP, Frank Mento, is no longer there.
I had a feeling because Shannon was taking charge, right? But she didn't say anything. But you get that suspicion. It's like she didn't mention him at all during the discussion. That's interesting. Huh.
Thought you should be aware of it. You're gonna be
Yeah, well,
back and forth with them.
and she's easy to deal with. I mean, she worked for the Village of Skaneateles and she understands how you have people paid out of different departments. And so she was quite easy to deal with. Item B on pending business is a motion we talked about before, the authorization of reallocation. This is the bond we took out in 2019, had 6 or 7 items, of which one of them we're not going to do. One of them we did that was less than we expected to pay for it. And a couple of the others are going to be maybe more than we expected to pay. So this is a motion that I don't know if Bob came up with this or if,
I grant you
Yeah.
that this is, the bonding resolution by the village was generic. However, the treasurer's certificate did specify the items. And I thought just to be on the safe side, it would be good to adopt a resolution that allows, without specifying, allows the reallocation within the group as long as none of the funds can be spent outside of the items that were in the treasurer's certificate.
okay. Do we need to read this motion or can we,
No, that's fine. Everybody's got a copy.
anybody got any questions on
I'm
it?
confused. The treasurer's list was specific,
Yes,
and now, according to the last line in here, we're gonna reallocate funds to be used only for listed projects.
yes.
But what are they? We don't have a list.
Well, we did. I mean, you had it when we did the bond.
I had the
It's
list.
the parking
the
lot.
old list.
This parking lot out here, it was new carpeting for the village clerk's office.
That was in the original allocation.
Right.
If I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, but it means the same things. We're gonna use them on the same items, just different amounts, right?
Right.
Oh, okay, we're not adding anything.
We're not adding anything.
No,
Thank you, Andy.
cannot add any item.
I had the same concern. when I read it.
Well,
Yeah,
when
once you have listed items that you're borrowing money on, the funds that are not expended cannot be used for anything outside of that list, but you can reallocate those specific numbers for
Okay.
each one.
Yeah.
You can reallocate among those items, but you cannot use it for anything else.
Yeah, I think we've gotten an estimate for the parking lot that's probably like 15,000 less than what now it's going to cost us. So we're just going to put some of that money, more of that money on that and less on something else. So.
Now I understand.
Can I get a motion to accept this authorization of reallocation? Bruce, we get a second?
Andy.
Oh, Andy did? Okay.
I
Any,
mumbled.
any more comments? Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thanks for taking care of that, Bob. Move on to new business. Can I get a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the school resources agreement with the Baldwinsville Central School District for the 2021-2022 school year?
Second.
Andy and Ruth, any questions?
How many officers this time?
Two,
Two.
just like last year.
Okay.
And the school board has already passed this.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Same contract, nothing different, nothing.
No, other than dates, there was some minor language changes that Bob in the school district's attorneys worked out and agreed to.
Good. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Item B, discussion possible action regarding the modification to the employee handbook regarding the post-retirement medical benefit for eligible full-time employees. I think you have a sheet of paper with two options of listing it, which was generally anybody who had completed 15 years of full-time service. The other option lists specific jobs within the village list of employees.
Are the jobs that are listed full-time FLSA exempt employees? Do you know that? Or is that why they're specific, is because some of them don't fall under that classification?
I don't know.
I would guess that they are, when, Mo had presented this initially to Bob and I for review. I was the one who questioned why it was listed as specific employees and not just a general, because, you know, if we open up another position and that person,
Then we got to,
then we would
Redo
have
the
to change it.
handbook.
So I just asked if we could be more general rather than listing, you know, specific employees.
So was there so we have, in these two options, we're adopting the benefits that apply to the PDA. Is there a reason that contract, or the terms in that contract were picked as opposed to like the DPW contract?
Yeah, I questioned that as well, if it had to be tied specifically to one or the other contracts, or if the board could just decide that we wanted to set it as a specific amount. It was up for, you know, us to discuss.
Right. I think me personally, I think terms might be to go in here as opposed to just tying into the contract because they change. And
Right.
It would change with the contract, and that's not really, that's being negotiated by the union.
Right.
We might want to specify actual benefits.
Yes.
okay. Why don't we table this then and
I have one more question for Meg, since this appears to be her thing.
yes, she helped Mo with this.
Was the percentage rate when the individual retires fixed to that point, or will it change with ongoing negotiations?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the question that I raised as well, was, you know, did we as a board want to say we are going to pay X percentage, you know,
Yeah.
regardless of what's happening with the retirees? She didn't put that language in, but I thought it would probably be a discussion that the board would want to have. If we want to set up a specific percentage, or if we want to tie it to one or the other of the contracts.
Yeah, so picking the police union contract as opposed to the DPW contract, I think we need to look at the actual terms of each and decide which one is what we want to roll out, or maybe something a little different.
I'll make a motion that we table the item and refine the specification of the return.
I'll second that.
All in favor of tabling? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Meg, I'll let you work with Mo. I know she's going to be on vacation for a couple weeks, but
Okay,
when she gets back,
okay.
okay, thank you.
Tell her not to retire right away.
Yeah. All right. Item C, can I get a motion to approve the Rotary's request for a waiver of the $1,000 Paper Mill Island rental fee for their Saturday, August 14th, 2021 Seneca River Day event? And I assume all their paperwork is in, Jody? Okay. Good, and we're still hoping that somebody's gonna wanna pay for the fireworks. Maybe they can have fireworks that night if some generous business owner or homeowner would like to step forward. We would be more than willing to plaster your name all over the village and say thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
I'm
Opposed?
abstaining from that one, Joey, as a Rotarian. And the next one.
All right, item D, can I get a motion to approve the Rotary's request for a waiver of the open container law from 6 PM to 10:30 PM on Saturday, August 14th, 2021 for their Seneca River Day event?
Move for discussion.
I'll second with a comment.
All right, Andy?
We've been asked to specify a site for that, so
Yeah.
it's got to say Paper Mill Island.
Oh, okay, include on Paper Mill Island.
That could have been my village.
Eh,
I could have given it.
Party on.
I think there's a fellow over there in a black uniform who might have said, we're not doing the whole village.
He read it, his face turned red, I'm like, oh.
That's why I just went up to Trustee Shepherd and asked him to make that adjustment.
Don't get much by you, do we?
No.
Yeah.
They got their insurance.
All right, so we have a motion for discussion and a second for explanation and all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I did get an email from Chuck Chow. I asked him how everything was going. I suggested that it might not be a bad idea for him to think about smaller scale stuff, going with local bands, just to get something out on the island. Said he's got a concert scheduled for August 13th, which is the day before the Rotary event. And, but he said, I'm working on other stuff. But I thought, if he throws a couple Saturday nights of local bands out there, because the big problem right now is they used to use the Red Mill Inn to stage the big national act. They could have one of the apartments type thing, one of the rooms, and they could have their dinner in there and they could take a shower and meet friends and that kind of stuff. Right now, they don't have a place to do that. And so it's hard with some of the national acts. That's a requirement. And so he's scrambling, trying to find smaller national acts that can be happy with their bus. But that's why I suggested, you've got Joe Whiting and Dirt Road Ruckus and some of those local bands that everybody, has heard for years, but they'll show up. People are just dying for concerts. So I threw that suggestion out. I'm hoping he will follow through and have 3 or 4 smaller ones and get some things going out on the island. Other than that, anybody have anything to discuss before we go to executive session?
Just a comment on that theme you were talking about. I went to a concert at Beacon Skiff a couple of weeks ago. And I'm going to another one at the Apple Festival Center down there in Lafayette. And I don't think they have hotels nearby. They take the bus and go to a hotel, so I'm not sure why that would prohibit us from, maybe it's kind of.
The acts in their contracts can be really absurd. Like they have to have peeled grapes. They have to have,
I mean, the one group is Bruce Hornsby, who's been around. And
Yeah.
The other one is Tedeschi Trucks, and they're probably high end. And I don't see them having hotels attached to the venue. So,
He mentioned that some of those venues were, especially the one in, not Lafayette, but down Homer way, they're covered. That takes some of the worry out of, whether it's going to be raining. That's one of the things that he mentioned to me that was causing this to be a little more difficult to book.
That's why I thought at least for this year, if he went small scale, just to get 3 or 4 events out there to give people something to do. I mean, all the people around here would flock out. They really probably don't care who plays, just an excuse to go out on the island. So I'm hoping, if you're talking with him, Shep, I hope you can encourage him.
I haven't talked to him in a little bit since the last time I spoke with Jody. But he did mention that when they do have their pre-show stuff over there, that it's usually in that large room off the kitchen. So I don't know how, if that, because they're not getting a room that they could have gotten before, but they just use that one big room. I wonder if it's still available. He's been trying to contact them to see if he can work something out.
there might be other venues in the village you could rent.
I know why it has to be there. Why not something at the Mohegan Manor or something?
Could be a W or.
Yeah.
fire.
I simply think it's the ease and convenience of them walking out the back door
Oh,
and
yeah.
walking 100 feet to the stage. That really is as simple as that.
I get it, but we're gonna have this problem for the foreseeable future. I don't
Sure.
want it to turn into like a, you know, an ongoing issue we're never gonna have access here again.
That's right.
Once there's residents in there, there's no way.
Right, they're not gonna give up this.
Okay,
Senior housing, they're not gonna wanna rock and roll. down.
Maybe we need another structure behind that.
yeah, that might be what,
I had brought that up,
Play an old
and I was
time rock
wondering
and roll.
if I took all this money. that's-
this is it, that Mike had mentioned to me, would we be interested in the possibility of building something like a room behind the amphitheater that could be used for that kind of thing? Maybe get somebody to sponsor the amphitheater, and their payment would be to build that room. And so
No,
now,
it wouldn't have to be big. I was thinking in the range of like a 20 by 40, a room, something that had speaking with somebody who was in the entertainment industry, a wall of mirrors. And so they can make sure they look good before shows, something the same where they can get cleaned up and a place for them to put out the buffet dinners that they have and
Yeah.
something,
And everything tied down so they can't trash it.
well, that's something we need to get together with Chuck
that's a big picture.
and see if maybe he even knows somebody who would love to sponsor the amphitheater, so. All right, we will adjourn to executive session here if everybody is satisfied with nothing left to talk about. Can I get a motion to adjourn into executive session with no action anticipated? Ruth and Andy, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? We will meet in executive session right here. And that we'll just wait for it to leave and they can close those doors.